Hi, I'm golf instructor Steve Bishop, and today's question that I've been asked is, how does a single-digit handicapper begin to start having a problem with snap hooks? What could possibly be causing a snap hook for a brand new, or for someone who basically has a really good game, probably shoots in the, maybe even drops into the 60s once in a great while, but usually in the 70s? Well, I've seen this actually happen to Sergio Garcia on the tee box a few times, where he's actually up on the tee, and I've seen him actually hit this shot that is just a duck hook that literally goes just down left and you know, maybe even 200 yards out if he's lucky, but he's still got to go and recover from this. What could possibly be causing that? Well, there's a couple of different things that might actually be happening here. But first and foremost, I want to describe to you what's basically causing this huge sweeping hook, okay? And that is that you must be having an inside to out path. That means the club is coming from the inside and then going out basically to the right of the target if you're right-handed. And then also the club face must be closed to a certain point, okay? That means it must be shutting down a lot. Now, your equipment can have an impact on this. Your grip can have an impact on this. And for the most part, I find that those two things are the most common reasons why a single-digit handicapper will start to develop this snap hook. He's probably been having a draw for a while because he has a good, solid, full release. Okay? But what I can find often happening is that sometimes there's just a misplacement of where the hands are on the club. For example, if my right hand goes on a little stronger than it normally does, it can have a little bit more impact, and suddenly now it's trying to rotate the club a little bit more than I'm used to. So I may be used to having this full release. I'm just going to show you here. If I have this full release like this, which is my normal release, well, actually down the line is probably going to be the best because you're going to see the club face here. But as I go for a full release, the toe of the club is pointing up, right? But if I take my right hand and I make it a little stronger on the club, what's going to happen is when I try to release, notice where that club face is going now, okay? And all I did, the only difference that I had was that I put my right hand on with just a little stronger grip. And sometimes it's not that perceptible to everybody, even single-digit handicappers or even golf professionals like me. You know, every once in a while we hit these strange, bizarre hooks, and oftentimes it's simply because our grip is just simply a little off from where it normally is. And then one hand tries to take over the swing, and that one hand, that right hand, when it tries to release properly, if it's too strong, it's going to cause that club face to shut down a lot more than normal, okay? So that's one thing. And then the other thing is, if your equipment is not properly fit, that is to say it has either too much flex or too little flex, what can happen is that you'll start to make compensations for that. And eventually, now normally, you know, if I see somebody that really has just a sudden case of the duck hooks, I'm going to usually find that their club is a little too flexible, all right? Now, flexibility is pretty good in a club. I actually prefer a club that's too flexible over one that's not flexible enough. But you can definitely have this time where basically the shaft of the club kicks a little earlier to the ball, and that actually causes the club face to shut down a little bit. Because as it flexes here, and this is just a 5-iron, but as it flexes here and it kicks forward, as we slow down, basically our hands and the club starts to catch up. The club head can actually catch up so much that it's actually starting to basically kind of decelerate a little bit, and that club head is going to kind of pop right at the end towards the ball, and that can actually cause it to flex a lot. I mean, there's some good pictures of people that, you know, right at impact, some good golf professionals right at impact, and even they've got these shafts that are, you know, bowing forward. Well, sometimes that's okay, sometimes you can get away with it, but sometimes that'll actually cause you to snap hook it. So your timing being off a little bit can cause those duck hooks. But I'd say the majority of the time, if you're a really good, you know, good single-digit handicapper who just suddenly sees these hooks coming out of nowhere, I would really tend to suspect that the right hand is getting a little too strong on the club, and you still trying to make that good release that you have as a good single-digit handicapper. With that stronger grip and a slight release, that good release, you're going to find that that club face is shutting down a little bit too much.